top 10 for his position. Bowles High School graduate Ryan Murphy continued his reign atop the American backstroke competition. The winner of Olympic gold in 2016 and 2021 repeated his national title in the 200-meter backstroke at the week-long USA Swimming Phillips 66 National Championships in Indianapolis. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson for 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's 86 degrees at 10 o'clock. Time to Temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
With the 27th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Anton Harrison, tackle, Oklahoma.
Everything about him, his skill set, how he fits, how he moves, the transition from right side to left side, and his ability to not only pass block but come off the ball.
Really, with Anton, man, he's just the sky's the limit. It really is. He has not, and as good as I think he was for us, I don't think he's as close to what he is eventually going to be.
I'm not trying to get into it too deep, but I love my quarterback right now.
Throwing it deep for Ridley. He's got it. Breaks the tackle, and it's going all the way. Touchdown. 75 yards. Wow. Ridley putting on a show.
Last year didn't end the way we wanted it to, so it's obviously it was a good year for our team, for the city, for this organization, but there's more out there. And I think we've set a new standard of who we're going to be, the team we're going to be, and we got to start that way this year.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
What's going on? Welcome to the new era of Jaguars Today. E.T. apparently aged out, Tony.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we got a hard 36-year-old limit on producers. Is what? E.T. turned 37 today, so he's gone. Denmark, how old are you?
25.
Oh, yeah, you got a good decade in you.
I almost said a bad word. We're stuck with him for like 11 years, potentially. I don't know, man. That just almost came right out of my mouth. Ooh, that would not have been good. Denmark, welcome. Officially, first day as the full-time producer of Jaguars Today.
Yeah, welcome in. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I don't even know what day it is. I'm so out of the loop. Hack was on vacation last week, the holiday yesterday. But happy Wednesday to everybody, and I'm glad I'm doing this. I appreciate it.
All right, well, we're maybe glad to have you. Yeah. We'll see over the next 11 years how that whole thing plays out. Now, in all seriousness, Dylan will do a good job. Do you have, I'm usually the producer nickname giver, although E.T., we just went with the initials. I don't think Double D is going to work.
Yeah, probably not.
Around here,
no.
Tony. I think we've gotten established Donovan Darius' presence
pretty well
on this program. The Great Dane, I don't want to call him a dog. I just don't know what to go with here. I guess Denmark, or perhaps maybe just Dylan. So boring,
I think the text line will find one eventually.
All right, text line. Do your baddest. You might not have enough information to work with, but if you listen to Hacker After Dark, Dylan's been producing that show for a while, so maybe you have a better sense than we do at the moment as to. But, you're going to get stuck with something. I'm just letting you know in advance. I don't know how Tony ever felt about Fat Tony, quite honestly.
No, it's
but
fine. Yeah.
I never relented, and this became part of the lexicon. How was your 4th of July, Tony Smith?
It was good, yeah. I'm trying to think through it. I don't know. I don't even know what my answer to this is. What comes to mind when you think of Denmark? I don't know what the answer to that is.
I don't know. I get them confused with Holland, I think, a lot. Holland's got the tulips, right?
Yeah.
And the wooden shoes and things like that. So I don't know. What is Denmark known for?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tough call.
Yeah.
I guess, you know what I'll do?
Have to dig in, yeah.
Hey, Google. What is Denmark most known for?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. So what'd you do yesterday?
Not much. Hung out with some friends, and I did watch the Coney Island the hot dog eating contest.
Sure, it's a great American pastime. I'll be honest with you, I'm bored with it. I don't have any problem with it. I've watched it. I've enjoyed it over the years. We've highlighted it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be like, oh, now it's passe and you can't watch. It'd be cool if you watch. It's great. I just didn't, it wasn't a big deal.
The actual contest, especially with where we're at now with Joey, it's
Is
not
he going
like
to break his own record?
Right.
Or
there's no drama
not?
to the actual contest and hasn't been for a while. The reason to watch it, and it always has been the reason to watch it for me, is the introductions, which I still enjoy. And I do love, when you're watching someone walk up on a stage and the big highlight that they have for him is that this guy ate 11 pounds of baked beans in 4 minutes. Like, that does still make me laugh. Like, just seeing those kind of things. And then, on yesterday's broadcast, you had, I forget who it was from ESPN that's like a regular ESPN guy, like one of their anchors.
Okay, was he doing like the play-by-play for it?
Kinda, yeah. And so they have somebody that's with the World Eating League, who's on there with him. And so the World Eating League guy...
Is it World or is it Major League Eating?
It may be Major League Eating, but that guy's willing to do like the beyond the pale kind of stuff.
The crazy stuff.
Like Joey wins again, and he's like, this is 16 in a row for Joey. That puts, Bill Walton and all these.
Wait a minute. Is it really 16 in a row?
I think he's won 16 in 20 years. I don't know how many in a row he's won.
I mean, just like that may have made me feel older than anything in the history of anything there. Joey Chestnut has won 16 hot dog contests. Seriously, right? Like, I mean, it just was like yesterday where Kobayashi was dominating. I would have thought maybe 10. He was pushing 10, but man, time flies.
Yeah, but they're like putting those kind of stats out there, and the ESPN guys like that's impressive. The other guys is pretty impressive too, right? Like the guy's playing the real sports, like he has to add that in there, and I'm watching it going, come on, man. Let him. It's the only
Over
day.
the top. All right. It's just got to go crazy
Let
with
him have it. No, this guy is not Michael Jordan. We all know that. He's eating hot dogs. Like, that's all that we know that he does. I have no idea about anything else with Joey Chestnut. I have no idea what his hobbies are. I have no idea how it looks very difficult to do this.
I think he eats. That's what he does. He eats and trains to eat and counts his money.
Man, give him his roses.
Bro, the thing, again, Joey Chestnut, the most impressive thing is not the 73 hot dogs or whatever his record is. It's that gallon of milk that he did in 47 seconds.
Yeah.
47 seconds. Just put that in your YouTube machine and put Joey Chestnut drinks a gallon of milk. And he was on a stage. This is before he was famous Joey Chestnut. And he just went on some Philadelphia radio station. And, I did it because I saw it done in college. Like back in the 80s, somebody tried this thing, and it was like a whole thing, and we got hacked to be the guinea pig a couple of times with that, and it went well for us, but I don't know how well
we had listeners
felt it
there
went.
for like 2-3 years. We had listeners coming in and competing against Hack, trying to do the milk challenge.
I mean, they were eating pizza, beforehand, which didn't seem like a good idea, but whatever the case. So, he drank a whole gallon of milk. I mean, you see the whole thing. There's no camera tricks. He drinks in 47 seconds. So,
and that guy, I'm sure he kept it down.
Him, right. He probably then went out for lunch after that.
Like if you can fit 73 hot dogs wherever that fits, right? Like if you train your body to do that, I don't think your stomach's getting in the way of a gallon of milk.
Your body's crazy because there's like room for all kinds of stuff in there. There really is, and it's just I don't know. I missed it. It wasn't a priority for me this year, even though I guess it got weather delayed, right? Was that
did.
what
you
happened?
Had to wait.
So I could have caught it later
First
on.
one in competition history, they said.
Well, that's shocking. I mean, you can't eat in the rain? I mean, you're soaking the buns in water anyway.
But it was, it's the quaintness of this event. That part of the thing that you could do is afterwards you can talk to Joey Chestnut about how did you keep yourself ready during the rain delay, right? He's eating hot dogs.
Right.
Like,
but you're not eating to keep yourself.
So they're asking him like,
nap?
What were you drinking water? Like that kind. It's like I don't like what is.
I'm saving some space for the dogs,
I get it.
Man.
The question is nonsense, but so the answer is going to be nonsense too. I'm here for it.
All right. Here's according to Google, first result I got. What is Denmark most known for? Is what I Googled.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rest of Scandinavia, Denmark is known for its high-quality design and architecture, Tony.
Oh.
Just think Bang & Olufsen. Huh?
That's,
Who? First thing that comes to my mind when I think of high-quality design and architecture, Arne Jacobsen or Jakobsen's egg chair.
Okay.
Okay, I think that very often. The Royal Copenhagen Porcelain and the Royal Opera House in Sydney were all the work of Danish designers. So they're
cool.
best known for things that are not even in their country, though.
Yeah.
Like if the Royal Opera House in Sydney makes your top 4 list, I don't know how much you're really known for, quite honestly.
It's a beautiful building.
Denmark is known for multiple things. Legos. Is that right? Did Legos originate there?
That a company from Denmark?
I don't know, man. Could be. I mean, Legos is kind of a weird word, right? We're used to it now, but where did the word Legos come from?
Yeah.
You know,
It did originate in Denmark.
did it?
How about that?
Look at this guy. Are you Danish at all?
No, I don't believe so. But I had a buddy in college that always called me the Great Danish.
The Great Oh!
So I think that might.
Oh, hey now. I don't know if I want to give credit to the college buddy, but on the old nickname finder. All right, we'll work on that. Today, we'll work on. I want to talk about the Jaguars and a little bit kind of the gap between Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the roster, right? At least in the perception of how good this supporting cast is for Jacksonville. And, you know, I avoided doing the, hey, can the Jags stay afloat if Trevor Lawrence missed time? Because I'm not the one who's putting that out there in the universe, right? He's not going to ever miss time. He's not. We understand Trevor Lawrence gets an injury that will cripple most mortals. He misses half a drive, and then he comes back in the game. We've seen it. He's tough, and so I'm only going to put positive thoughts on that out in the universe, Tone. But Chad Ryder, who does a really nice job on the actual NFL draft, did a piece over the last couple of days where he did a 7-round NFL mock draft, a win now mock draft. In other words, if you are building a team, put all 32 teams, put all the players in the talent pool.
Yeah.
And everyone drafts and fills out a team, and you go 7 rounds. This is your core of players on your roster, your top 7 guys. Who gets selected when? And obviously it's going to be very quarterback-centric. But Trevor Lawrence does very well in this.
Yep.
I mean, extremely well. And the rest is kind of so-so, right? Like the next guy would be Josh Allen. He would have been the equivalent of a 4th-round pick in this. So can all your hopes be fulfilled if you really only have one premium player? Or is it the case that maybe the Jags will have more than one premium player, but they're not getting credit for where they are right now in their career? You know, should Tyson Campbell be considered a better player amongst his peers at the cornerback position? CBS Sports just concluded their offseason series of the top 10 at every position. Trevor's the only guy who made his position list. I mean, there are an honorable mention or two along the way, but in terms of the actual top 10 player at any position, nationally, Trevor Lawrence is the only one who's seen that way. And honestly, he played that way for about a half a season, right? So he's given the benefit of the doubt based on his body of work collegiately. So we'll talk about that a little bit today, and that coincides with today's Jaguars Today question of the day, where we ask you that which Jacksonville Jaguars reputation will improve the most based on how he plays in 2023. So whatever you feel the reputation is, maybe it's among Jaguar fans. You can define it for yourself. I'm thinking more kind of like the national consensus when you look, and people are already saying, hey, Trevor Lawrence maybe hasn't arrived, but he is expected to arrive. And I don't know how much more his reputation can increase compared to some of the other guys on the roster. So we'll talk about that today. Jimmy Smith, yes, that Jimmy Smith, scheduled to join us coming up in about 25 minutes from now, as a matter of fact. I was talking with Jimmy earlier this week and wanted to get his thoughts on what's going on with the Jaguars offseason and just how far they can take it in 2023. So he's scheduled to join us as well coming up. You can be a part of it at 641-1010 on the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, or hit us up on Twitter at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark as well. Denmark, for me, is a sandwich place called Joe and the Juice It is a Danish establishment, but has places everywhere in Europe. Maybe call him the Juice. I feel like the last guy who had that nickname doesn't have the best rep. Speaking of reputation day here on Jaguars Today, I don't know if that would serve you well, Dylan, or not, but work in progress.
One of the terms I still have blocked on my Twitter.
The Juice?
Yeah, when he came back out into the public light and he had joined Twitter, I was like, I don't need to know anything that's going on in this man's life.
There's too many people to block right now, honestly. But I don't need to know anything that's going on with OJ and have him out there in my social media. It's weird enough, the people that show up in my Twitter feed. If I'm limited to 600 tweets I can look at a day, I don't want them to be from people I don't even follow on the stupid app. So anyway, it is what it is. It's a love-hate affair with social media. Again, 641-1010 works for the phone lines or the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You have the Twitter handles while that thing is still an entity. So be a part of the program today. Let's talk about the Jaguars supporting cast in relation to their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Jimmy Smith, longtime great Jaguar, scheduled to join us about 25 minutes from now. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and for the first official day of his tenure, Dylan Denmark. May he reign for many years to come. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's another Waste Management Wednesday in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
It's time to fire up the grill. Houston's Meat Specials of the Week. 10 pounds of fresh jumbo chicken wings, only $12.95. 2-pack pork spare ribs, only $1.99 a pound. And whole T-bone steaks at $5.95 a pound. Only at Houston's Meats, Main Street and 295.
Great free agent signings come from doing your homework. Selecting a roofing contractor takes the same hard work. Preferred Roofing has a great track record and a Master Elite certification. A free agent you can trust and know you'll get your money's worth. And remember this, Preferred Roofing guarantees to educate their customers on such a big decision as replacing a roof. Let their consultants help you make an informed choice that you're sure to feel good about. Master Elite certified contractors, Preferred Roofing is who you need. Tell them Joe C. sent you.
Hey, this is Jason with Bueller Air Conditioning. Why do we love to go to that awesome grocery store where shopping is a pleasure? Why do we choose that amazing chicken sandwich where the service is fast and friendly and it's always their pleasure? You see, those brands are a promise. Here at Bueller Air, our team is committed to serving the customer and delivering that same kind of brand promise. Our mission is to be the most trusted brand with friendly and professional service every single time. Give us a call today or visit BuellerAir.com.
He's not Pistol Pete, he's Pete Prisco.
Been on the wanted list almost 20 years.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Northeast Florida's highest-rated residential home electrical contractor is American Electrical, providing unsurpassed quality in Duval, St. Johns, Clay, and Nassau counties. No matter your electrical problem or project, large or small, American Electrical will get it done at a price that's right. High-quality electrician, that's who they are. Trusted company that's been on the First Coast for decades, proudly serving the community while being a big part of the community. Call American Electrical for all your electric needs at 737-7770. Wired right at a fair price.
If you've been thinking about selling your home for whatever reason, now is the time. The U.S. Home Price Index is on the rise. Interest rates are stabilizing. The market is turning more seller-friendly. And you have Chad and Sandy Newman. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but you're not sure how. Well, guess what? Chad and Sandy are sure how. Don't wait any longer. Take advantage of the incredible service and guarantee of selling your home at your price that Chad and Sandy are offering. Jim and Alice in Fort Caroline, we wanted to downsize, sell our Fort Caroline home, and move to the country. I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. We had a lot of stuff that couldn't fit in a smaller place, so we needed extra help. Chad had the perfect plan to handle every detail. Our home sold for full price in 5 days. Call the agents. We recommend Chad and Sandy, guaranteeing your home or they will buy it. That's ChadandSandy.com. ChadandSandy.com.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that diabetes is a leading cause of blindness and affects up to 34 million Americans? Please don't take diabetes lightly. If you have diabetes, see your favorite Bowden Eye doc and save your vision. Bowden Eye is dedicated to the protection and preservation of the treasured gift of sight. Bowden Eye & Associates. Visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. New location now open off County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
Summertime is here, and it's time to cast those worries out. And Royal is here to help you do that with our summer termite special featuring Centricon. Starting at just $249. That's right, I said $249, and that's installed.
Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS.
What's causing your hair to fall out? Can your hair grow back? Get to the root of your problem with IHRS Hair and Scalp Analysis. This analysis magnifies your hair and scalp 400 times to see what procedures can restore your hair. Call right now for your free analysis, 904-777-IHRS, or visit hairforme.com. Stop wasting money on solutions that don't work. IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years. They are the only clinic to offer the trademarked multi-unit hair grafting PRP platelet-rich plasma and the NeoGraft FUE hair transplant procedure.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS or visit hair4me.com. Hairforme.com.
We've been telling you for almost a year about Nathan's Family Chiropractic and the 100-Year Lifestyle Network. If chronic back or joint pain is keeping you down, don't listen to me. Listen to what Jacksonville is saying about Dr. Alan Nathan.
The stem cell treatment took the pain away.
Changed my life. It's awesome.
Your body just works better when it's aligned. We're believers.
His no-needle regenerative protocols are giving people their lives back. Get yours back, too. Go to the pro in the know. Don't do another cortisone injection. He's one of us, helping all of us for the past 25 years. For more info, drnathans.com.
Summer on the First Coast, the heat, the beach, and Jacksonville Sports Radio, 1010XL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I'm going to talk about those supporting players, and that's the way it is, right? You've got most teams very quarterback-centric, and everybody else is part of the supporting cast. Now, some of those guys are phenomenal players that are part of the supporting cast, but this is not, I don't think, Tone, anybody questions Trevor Lawrence being placed highly on a list of players for who you would want for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's 23, just scratching the surface of what his talent will allow him to do in the National Football League, and you've got to believe that he's going to continue to get better. Particularly, I mean, you want to reach a point where you could say, is Patrick Mahomes getting better? I don't know. Is he, or is he just maintaining his brilliance at this point in time? Saw this number, by the way, on Mahomes. I don't know if it was on Twitter, where it was, but only one of his touchdown passes last year traveled more than 19 yards in the air.
I saw somewhere this morning somebody had put out the stat, like the average length of his touchdown.
Right, and it had shrunk. Last year it had shrunk to like, what was it, 4.5 yards?
Yeah, it was like 4.3, 4.5, something like that. And you look back at his first year playing, his second year in the league, it was like 19. Was the average length of his touchdown, and it's come down every year. Like last
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, 2 years ago it was like 8.5. Right, and it came down to 4. Like it's just such a weird number to see that it's that low with a guy that is that prolific putting the ball in the end zone.
Part of it is just the way philosophies have changed about how you play offense in the red zone now, right? I mean, you go back to the beginning of Jaguar history in the mid-'90s. Well, Mark Brunell would cap out at 20 touchdowns, and be it James Stewart, Fred Taylor, Natron Means, name the guy. Get it near the goal line. Tom Coughlin was wanting to pound that thing in there. And it was, that was football. That's how you did it. Are you kidding me? I got to throw the ball. I mean, even go back to some degree to that interception that Russell Wilson threw at the goal line in the Super Bowl. Oh, they just wanted to make Russell Wilson the hero. Should have just ran the ball. That wouldn't even have been considered in that circumstance if you go back far enough. I mean, it just wouldn't have been. But you see guys like Aaron Rodgers. How many touchdowns does Aaron Rodgers throw from the 1 or 2 yard line?
Right.
Ton of them, right? So, look, I get it. He's your best player. And it is effective. If everyone's bunched up to stop you, why are you running your head into a brick wall? I do understand that, but it does skew the numbers. Now, you see, Patrick Mahomes can throw for 40 touchdowns. Well, maybe Isaiah Pacheco would have been running for 15 under, a different offensive philosophy, even with the talent that Mahomes has.
Yeah, you look at it, it's Warren Sharp apparently tweeted this out yesterday. Okay. Average length of Mahomes' TD passes, 2019, 17.3 air yards, 2020, 13 air yards, 2021, 8.5 air yards, 2022, 4.5.
Yeah. I mean, it speaks for itself.
Yeah. Only one, he said, last year traveled more than 19 yards.
Yeah. I mean, you don't expect that every week.
No.
But you expect it more than that.
Yeah.
Certainly. But, hey, does it matter?
No, they score.
Will we care about any stat? I hope not, right? Like people bring up, but if the Jaguars ever win a Super Bowl, I don't know what we're going to talk about the next offseason. I mean, really, like what is there to worry about? Yeah, you can always correct and you can get better. And I'm being a little facetious. Obviously, you'll come up with storylines and there'll be things to talk about. And can run it back to back and all these different things. But anyway, it'd be a great problem to have. But so again, list of taking a guy for the next 5 to 10 years. How many quarterbacks do you think would on that kind of list? Like if you could have a guy for the remainder of his career, Mahomes is still ahead of him, right? Burrow, consensus-wise, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that if you ask, 50 NFL pundits.
If it's a national conversation.
Right, people who cover the league know what they're talking about. They're going to choose Burrow. Josh Allen, I think you're getting a little bit on the borderline there, right? Because I think there's a question, will Josh Allen continue to be as effective a passer if they finally do start to rein him in with his running, right? He's such a threat and such a physical presence, but there's, and maybe it's just the case that we're going to talk about it every offseason, and it's never really going to come to pass, and that's just going to be how it is. Jalen Hurts, fair, but
it's interesting,
is
right?
That right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts, Tony, they were going after Russell Wilson last offseason, is the report. And, we're ready to replace him, or at least bring in competition, serious competition for him.
Yeah, I think when you get into that kind of range, right, and you mention the guys that we mentioned off the top, and they make complete sense. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, okay. I think Mahomes, it would be consensus. I think if you talk to 50 people across the league, 50 of them would take Mahomes, right? I think if you have...
There may be a contrarian or two.
Right, but the Joe Burrow versus, Trevor Lawrence, I don't think it would be 50 out of 50. I think that's one of those where it would be like 40.
10.
Yeah, it would be a big number in Joe Burrow's favor. So I think he would be the likely pick there. I think that number gets a whole lot closer to 50-50 when you get to Josh Allen. As far as that 50 people that you're talking to, who do you want over the course of the rest of their career? I think it's pretty close if you're talking to those national guys between Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. And I think, Hurts is an interesting one to talk about because Hurts, the thing that he gives you is that running threat. He is such a goal line threat with what that Eagles offense can do in that part of the field. They're almost impossible to defend down there because of the threat that Hurts adds on top of it with his legs. How long is that going to be effective? I don't know. We're already talking about, does Josh Allen at some point have to cut this out, right? Well, when Jalen Hurts has to cut it out, he's not Jalen Hurts anymore.
Potentially.
Right?
I mean, he's going to continue to improve as a passer, but there's no question that covering Jalen Hurts, you have to be well aware of his propensity to take off and run.
And I'm not saying, I think Jalen being in the conversation at that point is completely fair, right? Like, I don't think it's
guy was
ridiculous.
a runner-up for the MVP
right,
this year.
I don't think it's ridiculous. I think trying to figure out the debate between Jalen Hurts or Trevor Lawrence for the next 10 years, I don't think it's an easy thing to do. I think I would land on Trevor because look, he's a prolific passer, and you think that he's going to get better in that direction in his game, I would think, going into year 3 for him. And look, Jalen Hurts, the weapons he has, as good as we feel about what the Jags have in their offense as far as their skill guys, it's still not A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, right? Like, it's not that level that they're going to have in the room. here in Jacksonville. Jalen Hurts gets that advantage too with Dallas Goedert, who's a top 5 tight end in the league. Like, he has that built around him as well, along with the threat of his legs. And that's not to take anything away from Jalen, but having the conversation about, do you want him or him? I'd probably lean Trevor Lawrence.
I would too. And, you don't know how much of that is, if we're in Philadelphia and we're subjected to the Jalen Hurts hype on a daily basis, deserved hype, but nevertheless hype. But here's the point. Chad Ryder did a 7-round mock, and we'll get into where the other Jaguars came off the board in this. But this is for win now. Win this moment. Building a team can have any player available in the National Football League. And he did it in reverse order of how the team's records fell. So, like, for instance, the Rams were in there in the top 10. They didn't have a first-round pick this year, right? But it's just going reverse order. Jags, by the way, took Christian McCaffrey. We're all out of the good quarterbacks by the time the Jags picked, or at least the surefire first-rounders.
Yeah.
Mahomes went first. Burrow went second. Josh Allen went third. Jalen Hurts went fourth. Again, this is for win right now. Build a team to win today.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers went fifth. Trevor Lawrence went sixth. There are a lot of people that would take Justin Herbert over. And I know Trevor Lawrence beat him head-to-head twice. And that's true. Jags beat the Chargers head-to-head twice, right? Trevor Lawrence made that big comeback. He also helped dig the big hole, right, in the game. And he did make the comeback. And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying there are a lot of people that would take Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And here's a chance to take anybody you like to build your team around. Now, you got to think, Justin Herbert hasn't won a game in the postseason yet. Is there something about killer instinct that he hasn't displayed at least yet? I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but he's thrown for more yards than any quarterback in the first 3 years in the history of the National Football League.
Yep.
So, but he comes in 7th. Lamar Jackson comes in 8th. Dak Prescott comes in 9th, and the first non-quarterback, Aaron Donald, rounds out the top 10. This is for win right now. Interestingly enough, Justin Fields is 11. For win right now, this moment, they just had the worst record in the league. I get it. Trevor Lawrence had the worst record in the league his first year as hamstrung with Urban Miller. But regardless, that is here we are, a half season of scintillating play, and as he points out, 69.7% completion percentage in the final 9 regular season games, nearly 2,300 yards, 15-2 touchdown to interception ratio in that period of time. And then, of course, the comeback and states that he's on the verge of becoming a top 5 quarterback, right? And this is based on a half season, but it's that pedigree that he carries with him. That is incredibly high praise. I don't think Mark Brunell ever would have reached this height back in, even when he went to the Pro Bowl 3 times in the 90s.
Right.
If you were start your team with anybody, of course, maybe there would have been more different positions represented back then as well. You know what I mean? But it is so quarterback heavy right now. But pretty good stuff. Where do the rest of the Jags fall? We'll get to that as the program goes along later on today. As somebody pointed out on the text line, they just said, how is Evan Ingram not top 10 in this position? I don't know either. Certainly based on last year. But, again, these are, 1 or 2 people's opinions out there at NFL.com, CBS Sports, what have you. I think the Jags have a good supporting cast. They're certainly not viewed as having an elite supporting cast. No. That doesn't mean the view is correct, by the way, but that's how people see it at the moment. So tell us today, the Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day, whose reputation on the Jags will improve the most based on how he plays in 2023? Jimmy Smith on the other side, scheduled to join us coming up next. Longtime Jaguar, great wide receiver, get his thoughts on the Jags offseason and 2023 season to come. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark making his regular full-time Jaguars Today producing debut today. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Waste Management Wednesday continues from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
Hey folks, you know you want shark coatings, and the time is now. So close your eyes and let's imagine your garage. Wait, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Just wait till you get home. The rest of you see those cracks, the stains? It looks dark, dull, and dreary. It's nothing you're proud of. It's your house junk drawer. Now, see your floor with Shark Coatings. It's bright, it's durable, it's fresh. Since it's non-porous, it will be so much easier to clean. Don't imagine your garage, driveway, porch, or pool deck this way. Get with Shark Coatings and have a brand new space with new possibilities.
'Tis the season to be cool. Florida Home AC wants to make sure you're not cooked like a Christmas goose this summer. Make sure your AC unit is ready for the heat, and if it's time to look at replacement, look for quality and value. You'll get that from Florida Home AC. And right now, take advantage of $1,750 off a brand new heating and AC unit. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for all the details and trust a company that will always keep you cool. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, with answers to the questions I'm asked the most. Yes, we are local, and no, I'm not hiring an actor to read these commercials. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
What's the weekend in sports look like? I'm Dan Hicken, and I'll give you my take on the Weekend with Dan. Find it on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan, brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Hey, Jags fans, after another successful year, it's time to get your prowl on. We want you at the bank this season for all 9 of our home games. Come see your Jaguars in every big matchup in 2023 by securing your Prowl Pass now. To lock in your seats, visit Jaguars.com/prowl or call 904-633-2000. But you better hurry. Prowl Passes are limited and selling fast. Don't miss out on all the action. And remember, it was always the Jags.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club has become an attractive destination for golfers all over North Florida. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that'll test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time today at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
1010XL says thank you to our military.
We're American because you're in America, okay? Greatest country on the planet.
God bless the USA. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Jaguars Today rolling on. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith here with you, and time to welcome in one of the greats to ever play for the franchise. Always has an opinion on what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is, of course, Jimmy Smith, 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver, greatest wide receiver to ever lace him up here in the city of Jacksonville. Jimmy, good morning. How are you, bud?
Good morning, Mike. Great intro. How y'all doing?
Well-deserved, obviously. We're doing great, man. How's your summer going so far?
It's hot.
It is,
Too
brother.
hot. Yeah.
It is crazy hot out there right now. But hopefully that'll be the case for the way the Jags play this year, Jimmy. I mean, look, we got hyped up heading into 2018, coming off a great run in 2017 to the AFC title game. But because they have the quarterback that everybody agrees is the guy now, is this the most excited Jaguar fans should have been since back in your late 90s heyday with you and Fred and the crew?
I believe so. It's even more exciting when you got a guy like Trevor, who has all the potential, and right now we're beginning to stick ourselves in that window of playoffs. You're only going to have about those 4 or 5 years of a good playoff run, and I think we just spent our last one last year. So the next 3 or 4 years, I'm looking for a window to get to the Super Bowl.
Jimmy, what can you remember about how the locker room you were in here in Jacksonville dealt with the change in expectations coming off that AFC Championship game appearance in '96 and getting ready for the 1997 season?
Yeah, 90. It was exciting, and we started to believe after '96, when we went all the way to the AFC Championship and lost to New England. No one expected us to get that far, and coming back that next year, man, it was a lot of excitement in the locker room, a lot of excitement in the city was electric. Everybody was anxious to get on with our, continuation of good playoff football, and we had a good 4 years of that, and it was fun.
How important is just locker room chemistry, Jimmy? Obviously, this regime here, the front office, coaching staff, has focused on good off the field and on the field football character, actual character. You don't have it doesn't seem like a lot of agendas, a lot of egos. How important is that for a team to maximize their potential?
And that's what it's going to take in order for everybody to be on the same page, for that locker room to be solid, and for them to be a family in there. Yeah, and I like the fact that you brought that up. There's no drama, nobody with an ego over there. It's family, and everybody's on the same accord, and that's what you got to have in order, to reach that ultimate goal in the Super Bowl. Aside from anyone having any injuries. Let's keep our fingers crossed with that. But if we can have a good, healthy season and have the locker room like it is now with the excitement of the new infrastructure that's going in, I'm not worried about our fans. Our fans are super tight. We got some of the best fans in the world. They're going to be there. So we just got to win for our fans.
Jimmy, we know it looks like they got a really good wide receiver room coming here into 2023. How are you feeling, man? Are you feeling good enough to maybe run a route or two for the combination of Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence?
Hey, you know what? You said it. A good route or two, and that's it.
2-minute drill. We'll save you for late in the season. 1 2-minute drill out of you, man.
Yeah, I like the receiver core. There's no big egos. It's kind of like when me and Keenan had egos, but you didn't see it all the time. But these guys are close-knit. Kevin really has come in. It seems like everybody's accepting their role. And, I don't see nobody's selfish. There's a lot of unselfishness, and that's what it takes because everybody's going to have a chance to catch the football this year.
Jimmy, you had injuries early in your career, and then you got the opportunity here in Jacksonville. But what is Calvin Ridley being away from on-the-field competition through, it was injury the first season, and then, had the suspension, and he's been very upfront about that whole thing. But how challenging is that? He's still young. He's 28. We heard Jamal Agnew say last week that this guy looks unguardable. But, should we temper our expectations being that it'll be close to 2 full years since he's been on the football field when the season kicks off?
Yeah, it'll come back. He's had time to reflect on his past, which is very helpful for him. And I don't know for sure, but I would assume that he's got a lot to prove only to himself. We know how good of a player he is, how good of a route runner he is. We've seen him when he was with the Atlanta Falcons. But I don't know him personally, but I would assume that he has a lot to prove to himself. And we'll see what happens. And that's the kind of guy that you want. You want that mindset.
No doubt, Jimmy. What were your impressions of Christian Kirk here last year after getting the big payday, seeing his biggest role, at least to this point in his career, he achieved at a high level here in his first season here in Jacksonville, but what were your impressions of seeing him really for the first time in a Jags uniform?
He looks so much like an Odell Beckham. I'm just glad I have him on my team. I'm proud of him, and I don't see anything standing his way barring injuries. I'm looking for him to have a stellar 2023 season. I'm looking for that guy to be in the Pro Bowl. He should have been in the Pro Bowl last year, or was he? No. But I'm looking for him to have a good all-pro season this year.
It's interesting you bring that up, right? Because you cracked the code, man. Your play couldn't be denied, right? It is a small market, and I do think it works against Jacksonville Jaguars. They have to maybe do it 2 or 3 times before people give them that credit. right? Did you feel that back in the day? I mean, you in part, your name hasn't come up as consistently as it should in the Hall of Fame discussion at this point. Do you feel like those things worked against you a little bit?
A little bit, but it's always good to still be in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
The national media frowns upon us a little bit, but when you win ball games, there's nothing no one can do. And back when I was going to the Pro Bowl consecutively, I knew that I have to have the numbers. I got to have. There's four receivers that's going to get voted to the Pro Bowl. I got to be top 4 in the numbers. I knew that coming in the season and throughout the season. And then along comes with that winning. So as long as you got the numbers and you're winning ball games, the Pro Bowls are going to come. And then eventually the accolades will.
Jimmy, I hope the Hall of Fame conversation heats up for you. You deserve it, right? We all saw Tony Baselli get in last year.
Yeah.
Fred finds himself as a regular semifinalist lately. How do you feel as a teammate of Fred Taylor's about his Hall of Fame argument?
Well, I think a lot of the guys who are jousting to be in the Hall of Fame, all of us are Hall of Fame players. It's just a matter of when we get inducted or if we'll get inducted. There's a bottleneck, several positions. I'm proud to the fact that I was able to play with Fred. Most of his big plays and big runs, I had something to do with it. Same as Tony. And we're just glad to be a part of it. So just like when Tony got inducted, we all felt like we were inducted along with Tony.
Yeah.
We'll feel the same way with Fred. And as far as me, I'm just happy being nominated every year.
Hey, your name's going to continue to grow in the conversation as we talk about, man. And, I think you got a good approach to it. Time will tell. Baselli waited a while. It's just kind of the situation. But I think –
you got to wait.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, Jimmy, this team having a higher profile now brings more attention to the franchise as a whole, too, right?
I'm glad you said that. And that's big. This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. When we don't win, there's very little Hall of Fame conversations about, me, Fred, and Tony. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
No doubt.
Not just once, but a couple of times in these next 3-4 years.
We'll start with one, man, but I'm with you. Let's not settle, right? I mean, you got the 23-year-old franchise quarterback. We got a pretty promising 10 or 12 years laid out ahead of us. Look, we know you got a lot of stuff going on this morning, and we do appreciate your time, but let me get one last thing in here. Josh Allen is a big year for him, right? Fifth-year option, playing for a contract extension. What are your expectations for what we'll get out of Josh Allen this year?
I think he's been here. It's big time. Payday is right on the horizon, so I'm expecting for him to really tear it up this year. And I'm pulling for him. I hope he has a stellar career. A stellar year this year. Whether we keep him or he goes off in free agency, I'm sure he was going to want to stay with this young, exciting team. Hopefully, he'll take a good player-friendly deal, and he'll be a Jaguar for the rest of his career.
We got a few of them in that circumstance, man. So let's capitalize right now, right? I mean, there's nothing saying we can't make that run this year, Jimmy. I know you feel the same way.
Yeah.
So, all right. By the way, I know you're heavy on the Twitter right now. They're loving on you at the moment. So go check out your timeline at Jimmy Smith Jags. The greatest receiver in franchise history. And apologies to Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and the rest of them. You got some work to do to get in that conversation right now. Jay Smooth, appreciate the time this morning, man. Hopefully we can visit with you again before the season kicks off.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
You got it, buddy. Jimmy Smith, simply one of the best to ever do it for the Jags. And he really was squeezing us in. Had a tight schedule this morning. We appreciate Jimmy taking some time out here, Tony. I do think, a couple of things. You talk about that locker room. You can win different ways, right? Clearly the Jags at times had factions in the 90s, right? You had the Andre Rison situation, which was polarizing for people. Some people were fully on board. Others were like, breath of fresh air when they got him out of there, and you can't deny that kind of helped the Jags, like, kick-started them along. But there has been so much emphasis, I feel, on having guys that fit together and have, and I keep referring to it as football character. It doesn't mean they're not good character people, but in terms of working hard, doing the right thing, yeah, everybody wants to get paid. I'm sure Josh Allen wants to get paid. I'm sure Evan Ingram wants to get paid. Of course they do. But at the same time, once it's time to go to work, I don't think that becomes an agenda, other than let me show you why I'm worth the money that I'm seeking.
Right. It does fit like you said, there's different ways to do it, right? In the way that Belichick succeeded forever, right? Now he was fortunate to have Tom Brady helping him do all this, right? But that kind of disciplinarian, that old school NFL mentality, which I think is something that Tom Coughlin brought here as well. Despite whatever the factions were in the locker room on Sunday, that didn't matter, right? Like everyone was pulling the same direction on the rope when it came time for the game. And that's what allowed the Jaguars to be successful. It's what allowed the Patriots to be successful. We just saw the Rams win a Super Bowl. I don't know how good or bad that locker room was, right? But they were super talented, right? And they brought in enough guys to allow themselves to win for a year. I do think we saw what Doug Peterson was able to do in Philadelphia with what looked like from the outside a bunch of kind of misfits, right? Like that's the way they kind of handled it week to week. That Eagles team that wound up winning the Super Bowl, it didn't matter how much you talked about what are they doing? How are they achieving this kind of, it didn't matter. Inside the room, it didn't matter. Like they were bought into whatever Doug Peterson needed them to buy into to allow them to win. I think Andy Reid has that same kind of thing. Right? It feels that way in Kansas City right now. They can say whatever they want to about whoever's on the team, right? You guys don't have the weapons on the outside that you had 3 years ago. Who cares? Right?
Right.
We got enough.
We got Mahomes.
Right, and we got faith in the guys that are here that we're going to find a way to do it. And I think the combination of Doug Peterson and his ability to build that culture in a locker room, when you combine that with, we got Trevor Lawrence on top of that. Right, and that's what gives you the hope that it's not going to be a short-term thing. This feels like a long-term thing. Jimmy talking about a 5-year window, right, for this team. Who knows how long the window actually is.
The window is Trevor's healthy career.
Right, like
that's to me what the window is.
Like it does feel like there is no horizon right now with this team if they can figure out a way to do the Trevor Lawrence long-term thing. It's all here. They have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl this year. That's not out of the realm of possibility for this team as it's put together right now. That road's not easy. It never will be, right? But they've created an opportunity with what they have at coach and quarterback right now. Yeah, they got a shot.
But you make that point about this year, right? I mean, Evan Ingram probably playing on the franchise tag. I mean, at least, what do we got? 12 days to go that he's got to negotiate a long-term deal. Haven't heard anything on that front. Not that you necessarily would until it pops up. Josh Allen, very similar circumstance. Calvin Ridley is going to need to be re-signed. Trevor Lawrence may be getting that long-term contract extension as soon as next offseason, although that's not a guarantee 100%. Cam Robinson's cap situation explodes into a huge number. And look, at this point, you may not even feel Cam Robinson's a starter on this football team, and he won't be to open the season. We were looking at Foye Oluokun earlier today. Very manageable cap hit this year by NFL standards is like $8 million something. Goes up to nearly $23 million next year. Now, you can renegotiate that number and move it around, but that's a big cap number. Yeah, the cap's going to rise, but these are just a handful of examples of guys that right now, granted, you didn't have a lot of salary cap space, but you didn't have much attrition either this offseason. Yeah, you lost Juwan Taylor and you lost Arden Key, the greatest architect of
he built
civic infrastructure in the history of time. But other than that, right, I mean, it's a pretty intact football team, and you add Calvin Ridley to the mix, and hopefully you get some contributions from this draft class. And we've talked about it many times this offseason. The biggest improvement on this Jags team is not the addition of Calvin Ridley. It's the improvement starting with Trevor Lawrence, but it's not just him. It's all these young guys, Tyson Campbell and Josh Allen, I think still can ascend, and Trayvon Walker and Devin Lloyd and Luke Fortner and young players, Walker Little, can they come into their own, not become necessarily all a bunch of Pro Bowlers or household names, but can they all, or the majority of them, give you their best career season to date right now? I think it's possible. You know, is it likely that they're all going to do it? No. Things happen. But, you could argue Evan Ingram's season last year was as good as he's had, even though he went to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Can he take that another step forward, at least on a per-target basis? Don't know if he's going to have the same amount of targets. But
a bunch of key young players that got to feel their first taste of success in the NFL last year, right? And what do you do to build on that, right?
Exactly.
That's the big question going into 2023. And look, I think the answer is going to be an astoundingly good one for the Jags. I really do. I feel great about this team this year, but they still got to put it together. There's a lot of work that has to be done to get to where I think they can get in this season.
All right. Appreciate Jimmy Smith stopping by. Get some more thoughts on what he had to say about Calvin Ridley. When we return to next hour, Tony Smith will take you around the National Football League. A lot of nickname suggestions for Dylan Denmark coming in on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures right now. Today's question of the day asking you which Jacksonville Jaguars reputation will improve the most based on the way they play in this upcoming season. Right? And you factor that in. Some people are saying, it's obviously Trevor. Maybe it will be, but if in some circles he's already seen as a top 6-7 quarterback, how much further up the chain is he going to go? Right. Is he going to leapfrog all these guys by the end of the year? I'm not saying he couldn't pass any of them, but chances are Mahomes, Burrow, unless Lawrence goes out there and throws up an MVP season, which he's capable of doing, is probably going to still be considered, second tier, that's not an insult. No. That's a pretty good tier to be on as a quarterback in the National Football League. All right, it just sounds funny, though, second tier. Right? It sounds like a backhanded compliment if ever there was one. All right, 641-1010. If you want to be a part of it, you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helping you over the hump. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on Jaguars Today.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. You know Dan Hicken.
I got special talents. I'll show you. Look out.
And you know Jeff Prosser.
I've had it. I can't listen to one more self-righteous chestnut out of your mouth.
Mornings on the drill.
So beggars can't be choosers.
On 1010XL.
Drivers and heavy truck mechanics, if you like sports, then you're going to love working at Waste Management.
We have a team atmosphere here where we're looking out for one another. We jump in to help out.
Listen up. WM is now offering a $5,000 new hire bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs at our sites in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine.
It's camaraderie. It's everything. I like it.
Steady work, competitive pay, weekly paychecks, opportunities for overtime, paid training, and a generous boot and tool allowance.
Plus, over-the-top benefits like 100% tuition coverage for you and your family, and home every day.
CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics. Apply online at WM.com/careers. That's WM.com/careers. Search driver and mechanic jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine, Florida.
A people first, military friendly, equal opportunity employer. We are WM.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, presented by FIS, takes the field this season at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark as the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game, and kids run the bases after Sunday games. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
The following people are under the influence of no air conditioning.
Oh man.
is it ever hot? I can't get up. My legs are stuck to the chair.
Can guys go through menopause?
Why?
I think I'm having a hot flash.
Don't let no AC happen to you. Call Duck Duck Air Conditioning, available 24 hours a day, and they'll fix it right the first time. When your AC system needs a repair, it's time to call Duck Duck Air, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck Air Conditioning, a division of Duck Duck Rooter.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE NeoGraft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I always ask you about motorcycles, but Cycles right now features pontoon boats. Tell us about it.
It's an exciting time. We just got into it. We're carrying the Coach Pontoon lineup, overbuilt, lifetime structural warranty. Comes with a legendary Honda engine. These things are super fun. They are not your dad's pontoon boat.
That means they are tricked out, ready to roll.
The best sound system from Rockford Fosgate, Wet Sounds, they're in it.
Check out now the Coach Pontoon Boats at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency.
The First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's Best in the Orthopedic Practice and Physical Therapy and Rehab Centers categories once again. For the last 29 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
The time to buy an emergency generator is before you need it, not when you're sitting in the dark. Storms happen in a hurry in Florida, so be prepared. Protect your family and property with American Electrical Contracting. Call them today, 737-7770.
If you want to get into broadcasting, 1010XL is partnering with the Broadcasters and Sportscasters Mentoring Group to offer on-air broadcast training to a select few. Find out how you can be mentored at getintobroadcasting.com. getintobroadcasting.com.
I'm Sam Nelson with your 1010XL local sports update. As training camp and preseason approaches, the Jaguars could use better play from their defensive line in 2023. Defensive line coach Brenson Buckner is tasked with improving their performance.
I don't think Jacksonville paid me to be a big cheerleader and cheer on what they do good. I think they paid me to let me make that bad good.
The drought is over for Ricky Fowler after 4 years without a PGA Tour victory. Fowler won the 2023 Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit on Sunday.
It's just nice to have this one out of the way.
way. I'm obviously going to soak this one in and celebrate a bit. Yeah, it's just been a long road.
Our Florida baseball teams took it on the chin with the Rays, Marlins, and Jumbo Shrimp each losing. This evening, the Jumbo Shrimp continue their homestand against the Durham Bulls. Game time is 6:05 at 121 Financial Park. At your 1010XL local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson for 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's 89 degrees at 11:04. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Jaguars Today on 1010XL. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, thanks again to Jimmy Smith for joining us a few minutes ago. Needs no introduction, but gave him one anyway. Best receiver in team history. And that's not controversial in the least. Some of these potential Dylan Denmark nicknames, I don't know if controversial is the right word, but need more time to adjust to them. Let's put it that way. Somebody sent in 5 examples on the text line.
Okay.
Dylan the Old for famous King Gorm the Old of Denmark. Wow. If that's your first one,
King Gorm,
we're going deep cuts. Number 2, Gertrude of Bavaria.
Oh.
That's a long nickname.
It really is, and I wouldn't want to be called Gertrude of Bavaria. King Canute's, or Canute's, the 6th wife. Who's King Canute?
It's a history lesson.
Nickname number 3, the Colonizer.
Oh.
Who did Denmark colonize? It must have been tiny.
Yeah.
Like some Liechtenstein or Luxembourg or somebody. Who did they colonize?
Well,
I don't know.
Somebody
Maybe they did. I guess they were, right? The Viking people, right?
That's the history of Europe. Someone's always trying to take it over.
They're always colonizing.
Yeah.
The Viking. There you go. That's one of them. I don't, like, if you say Vikings, what country do you think of? Putting the Minnesota Vikings out of
some Scandinavian country, yeah.
I think Norway.
Yeah.
Like Olaf.
Norway, Sweden,
Olaf the Old.
Something like that, yeah.
And then the Dane Man or the Dane.
The Dane Man.
The Dane Man. Hey, the Dane Man. Yeah. Got work to do.
Yeah, we do. We got some work to do. Do you have a favorite Bob Dylan track?
Negative.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. I know what JJ's is, but would be hard to figure out. All right. So, Jimmy Smith, I think, is uniquely qualified to answer the question about Calvin Ridley coming back and being the guy he used to be. Now, Jimmy Smith did not have an NFL legacy to build on. Calvin Ridley, legacy is a strong word, but Calvin Ridley has a body of work.
Yeah.
1,374 receiving yards in his last full season, which was obviously, an outstanding total. Jimmy Smith, lest you forget, came into the league in 92, the age of 23, and played 7 games on special teams for the Cowboys.
2nd-round pick, right?
Yes. And that was that year, I'm sure, right? 2nd round of the 92 draft.
Yeah. They won the Super Bowl that year.
Played special teams.
Yeah.
Didn't catch a pass.
Yeah.
Missed the 93 and 94 seasons entirely. Okay, didn't play. He had the broken leg. He had appendicitis. He had all kinds of issues going on. So when the Jags got him, he was 26 years old without having caught a ball in the NFL, and was solid his first year, but, gave a few indications, averaged 13 yards a catch, gave some indications. Maybe he could be a field stretcher for you.
Yeah.
But
had a kick return touchdown that year.
I think
in
you're
95.
right. Yes, I think you're correct on that. Yes, only one of his career.
Yeah,
had 24 kick returns. Had close to double the amount of kick return yards than he did receiving yards that year. But the very next year, went for 1,200.
Yeah,
and that was began a string of 7 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And 9 of his last 10 years in the NFL. He went over 1,000 yards. In fact, most of those, he was over 1,100, 1,200 yards with a Jaguar best 1,636 back in 1999. I don't think, even in today's pass-happy NFL, I don't think anybody will challenge that.
I was supposed to say 9 out of 10 years, 1,000 yards.
I'm just specifically, though, the 1,600.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying Calvin Ridley isn't capable of doing that. He was close to 1,400
Yeah.
at the age of 26. But with that team, is Jimmy, is Keenan. Those were your guys you had to feed in the passing game. Everybody else got kind of scraps.
Yeah. And by the way, over that course of a decade where he was doing that, he missed 5 games, if I'm reading that correctly, on his Pro Football Reference page.
Right. Hardly ever missed, and 4 of those came in 2003.
Right. And with the way
suspension related.
Right. With the way it started for him, dealing with what he dealt with early on, right, and missed 2 seasons because of that injury.
Bro, ain't that the truth?
Like, everything that went on, and probably had that kind of reputation when he left, is like, we don't know if this guy will ever be healthy. He was talented enough to be a second-round pick. Let's take a shot on him.
Like, everybody called Fred Fragile Fred, right? Jimmy didn't play enough to get that reputation.
Right.
He was non-existent Jimmy. Speaking of day for bad nicknames.
Yeah.
To have. But, we asked Jimmy, what does he think about how quickly Calvin Ridley will get back to being the player he was? He is 28. He's not over the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, Jimmy, last year, he was 36 years old, putting out 1,023 yards, averaging nearly 15 yards a catch for this team. He's never a massive touchdown scorer. He's always in that 6-7 range, mostly, at a couple of, trio of 8 touchdown seasons. That was his career high, but he scored 6 at the age of 36 with 1,000 yards, was still a very, very effective player, and, he thinks it'll come right back to him. And by all indications, Calvin Ridley's doing everything he can to prepare himself for that. And we talked about it on Monday. Man, it's Monday. It seems like a long time ago.
A while ago,
right? It does, right? That one day off will mess with your head. But just the fact that, again, train of thought right out of my head. I'm trying to read Dylan nicknames and speak at the same time, and it's not going well for me right now. But anyway, you get the idea. Calvin Ridley, Jamal Agnew came out, that's what it was, and it just said that he was basically unguardable, based on watching him. Now, that's him going through drills where nobody's really guarding him, right? But just in terms of seeing the quickness, the route running, plant your foot in the ground, make that quick break to gain separation. Players know. They see it. They know when a guy's different. And, Jamal Agnew has been around the league for a while. He's seen good receiving teammates and opponents, and said basically he thinks Calvin Ridley is going to be unguardable.
Yeah, and you watch the players at his position around the league reacting to Calvin being back, right? You watch, the Tyreek Hills and these different guys in the league when they're being asked about their top 5, 10, whatever, in the league. And they're including Calvin at times in these lists. It's like the guys who are playing his position in the league look at Calvin Ridley, they see it.
He was the truth.
Right? Like, they see it with Calvin. It's a matter of, it's been some time off. Can he come back from it? Talking to a guy like Jimmy who had to deal with that early on in his career. He's a promising young guy coming in, second-round pick, going to a team that's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Right when he gets there and doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities to work a year. He's just playing special teams, right? Played a couple games in the playoffs that year where he was just playing special teams for that Cowboys championship team. Then he gets hurt, right? And a year after he gets hurt, the team says, we got no space for you, essentially. And so he lands here in Jacksonville. He's still the athlete that was worth a second-round pick and made it happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when the opportunity came, Jimmy took full advantage of it here. I think Calvin Ridley, we've already seen him establish himself much more than Jimmy could, obviously, in his first 3-4 years in the league, right? Like, we've already seen better than that from Calvin in his first 4 seasons in the league. But I think it is interesting to hear a guy like Jimmy, who dealt with what he dealt with, basically say, it can come back.
He thinks it'll come back fairly quickly.
Like, why wouldn't he be what he was, right?
That not everybody responds the same way.
Sure.
Either. But it's not like he was 32 and took 2 years off.
Right.
He's trying to come back in his mid-30s. He's still only 28 years old. So if we get that level of Calvin Ridley this year, this offense is going to be so fun to watch.
Oh, no doubt.
All right, we'll go around the league when we come back. You're listening to Jaguars Today, 641-1010 if you want to get in, or hit us up on Twitter today with your response to the question of the day presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. Which Jacksonville Jaguars reputation will improve the most based on how he plays in 2023? Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. It's Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Keeping the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios clean. It's a Waste Management Wednesday on 1010XL. JOI, where the pros go.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Youth sports are getting back into full swing, so you know what that means. Custom Yetis so dads can keep their beer or sodas cold. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
What player has the longest hitting streak in Major League Baseball history?
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Joe DiMaggio holds the record for longest hitting streak, which lasted for 56 games in 1941 with the Yankees.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This is Hayes Carline for Island Wing Company, located on South Side near Tinseltown, and our new location at Bartram Park in St. Johns County. Two great locations offering the ultimate sports bar experience where you can stick to healthy options. Island Wing Company has a wide selection of fryer-free food. The wings are baked, not fried, with so many awesome flavors to choose from. You can also get delicious salmon, tuna, flatbreads, and tacos. With tons of spectacular TVs, dog-friendly patios, and 2 daily happy hours, Island Wings can't be beat.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods, and I'm proud to say that Underwoods is the longest-standing member of the American Gem Society in the state of Florida. That's important because the American Gem Society promotes professionalism inside the business, and most important because of how it protects the customer. Gemstones are like most things, and you have to have the knowledge about them before you can tell the truth about them. That's where the American Gem Society fits in. They're the organization that certifies gemologists and registered jewelers and certifies sales associates with professional titles. Then to ensure that we stay up to date with these gemological advances, we re-win our titles by passing a written test every year. And now I'm proud to say Underwoods has the largest credentialed American Gem Society staff east of the Mississippi River. So if you're interested in diamonds and jewelry and want real professional help, stop by Underwoods.
Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
The more you catch, the more you like to fish.
Fish up, fish up, fish up.
Find more fish on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Oh, that's a big one, dude.
With Captain Kevin Faber. Brought to you by Houston's Meats.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kids Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Clearwater.
John, I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks.
Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up.
So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your round of golf with us.
Our warm and welcoming atmosphere and spectacular golf course keeps our customers coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
If your hair is thinning and you're looking for an easy solution that will restore your hair, check out IHRS PRP Platelet-Rich Plasma. PRP, using your own platelets and cells to restore your hair where it's thinning. Combined with their FDA-approved laser hair therapy and pharmaceutical-grade products, all three will deliver one better result. Call IHRS now for a free evaluation and to find out if their PRP 45-minute treatment will work for you. Now there is a solution for any man or woman with any degree of hair loss. And it's all in one place. Call 904-777-IHRS. IHRS has been restoring hair for over 30 years. The staff at IHRS knows what it's like to lose their hair. And that's why they're ready to help you grow your hair back.
Schedule your free hair and scalp analysis today. Call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Duval! Your Jaguars are locked in and ready to play. Our home schedule lineup features exciting matchups that you don't want to miss.
Into the end zone, touchdown!
After all our success this past season, the 2023 season is going to be one that you'll want to be a part of. With a variety of plans, we've got ticketing options for every budget. So visit jaguars.com/tickets to lock in the best seats at the bank or call 904-633-2000 to buy now.
He writes. Done. He speaks.
Amazing, isn't it?
He's nationally syndicated sports writer Matt Hayes, and he's on XL Prime Time, noon to 3 weekdays on 1010XL. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
I got to readjust to a whole new age frame of reference now with Dylan Denmark. Not that E.T. had seen, like, all the same movies, listened to all the same music. There was definitely a gap.
Yeah.
I felt like, we kind of blended the edges of our experiences over time. One of the nicknames suggested for Dylan was Gunsmoke. Marshall Matt Dillon, of course, right? And Dylan told us that somebody at one of his old jobs used to just yell Gunsmoke at him. And he's like, from like that movie? I'm like, bro, and like one day people will be like, what? There was a TV series about the Korean War? What?
Right,
like Gunsmoke was like the MASH of its day.
Yep.
Dylan's have you ever seen an episode of MASH?
I've seen a few.
Have you ever watched Seinfeld?
I've only watched a couple of episodes of Seinfeld.
So
I'm not one of those people.
What do you what is like your what are you, The Wire? Like what is your, would you say is one of your favorite TV series?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I like that.
You're at least reaching back to do that.
Yeah.
That
90s.
A little bit. Not the remake
Sopranos.
one, right?
Yeah.
Like the gritty Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Have you watched any of that?
No.
I haven't
Is
seen
that the new
I guess.
the
I don't know.
remastered series?
I hear
or
about
whatever?
these things. I don't. There's plenty of things I have no interest in watching.
Oh,
I did watch the 5-part documentary on American Gladiator.
I did too.
Did you watch?
Over the last couple days, I did.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. I watched that and I finished the ESPN 30 for 30. They are different entities.
Really?
Right? Like the two specials, I don't know why they're both coming out basically at the same time.
Well, the 5-parter was basically all about how these guys, became overnight famous, but never really made any money.
Yeah.
Doing it.
And the ESPN series is more the ownership, which may explain why they didn't make any money. And there's a lot of controversy kind of behind the scenes of what was going on with American Gladiators and who owned it and whose idea it was, like these kind of things. It was a big deal, obviously, for the people involved. It's a big property. But it did end with this note that it does feel like, I forget what production company, but at least it's in the air that they might be trying to do Gladiators again, which I would love to see. I loved American Gladiators when I was a kid, and it was on, ESPN and ESPN Classic would have those old episodes.
There's just got to be an suspension of disbelief because they're all jacked up on roids.
Oh, for sure.
Although they went to great pains, the guy they called the Tower, to point out he denies ever using steroids. He's like the biggest guy out of all of them, right?
Like what I wouldn't give to have been watching the episode where Tower got knocked off his tower and then chased the official into the stands. Like, I honestly, I wish I had been able to watch that kind of stuff.
Like live, but you would have thought it was fake. You would have been like, oh, this is scripted.
It's part of the show. It's like watching wrestling.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
But he was like just roid raging or allegedly.
No, yeah, I
raging.
love that show. And I get it that these are just a bunch of guys that are jacked up on steroids and doing whatever else, but watching people from the public, right, have an opportunity to go up in an athletic contest against these guys, like that was a lot of fun, even if most of the time what wound up happening is you just saw someone get crushed by a Titan. Like, that's okay, too. That's good
Pretty
television.
Much.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like the underdog story. Anyway, we'll get to the rest of the guys that went in that every player available win now draft coming up. There are 5 other Jaguars, so put on your thinking caps and think along with us here. In addition to Trevor Lawrence, who went 6th overall in the win now draft. Chad Ryder will join us next week, talk about some off-season stuff, but he's doing a little vacationing right now himself. But we'll get to that coming up. We'll go around the league in a second. Craig in Columbia, South Carolina, on the text line, pretty excited that you're a Fresh Prince fan, apparently. So let's go. He's also the one who suggested Dylan Denmark's nickname could be Dan the Great.
Okay. I don't think that
could be
sticking. Yeah.
Could be Al the Awesome, too. But, it would have about the same connection to Dylan's name. A lot of dilly-dillies in there. I don't No. Dilly-dilly. They were annoying Budweiser commercials when they were on.
Like, if we're not going to call him Double D, right? Like, we got our own Double D.
Can't do Double D.
Like, I could understand if we went with, like, the DD, like, instead of doing the Double D, like, if it wound up in a spot like that would make more sense to me than certainly something that doesn't even involve his name.
Dan the Great. All right. All right, Dan the Great. Fire it up. Let's go around the league.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jack's Beach.
I'll say it's better than Dan the Mediocre or Dan the terrible. So unless you're terrible because you have a reputation of being so brutal.
We'll save that for Ivan.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Right, like that kind of thing. New Orleans Saints tight end Foster Moreau announced on Twitter on Monday that he is in full remission from Hodgkin lymphoma. Moreau's cancer was found during a physical with the Saints when they were working to sign him in free agency. 2 months after the cancer was found and Moreau had decided to step aside to focus on treatment and recovery, he signed a 3-year, $12 million deal with New Orleans and has now announced the disease is in remission. Mike Vick offered the following advice regarding Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa during a recent appearance on Tyreek Hill's It Needed to Be Said podcast, saying, quote, I just think he's got to bulk up a little bit, get a little bit bigger, get stronger. As you grow into your man body, that's what needs to happen. Ain't nothing wrong with picking up another 10, 15 pounds. Don't get hit. Don't get knocked around, end quote. Tua missed 5 games last season, including the Dolphins' playoff loss due to 2 confirmed concussions and a third that was suspected to have led to his having missed the playoff game last year for Miami.
All right, thank you, Tony. Armadillon, I get it. Like it's
That's
amusing.
Better. Yeah.
It's amusing, but it's just like then you gotta kind of explain. It's like I have armadillo, whatever. Armadillos are filthy, nasty creatures as well. So I have not reached that conclusion with Dylan Denmark yet. Still time. All right, 5 other Jaguars made the draft. So it's basically you're talking about, what do you have? 7 times 32, 200 and what is it? 24 players selected in this draft, I think, if I did the math right.
224.
Okay, so you get a 7-round draft. Starting a team, you're drafting a team from all players in the National Football League to win today. This is over at NFL.com. Trevor Lawrence is number 6 on the list.
Okay.
Here are the rest of them. In that 4th round range, Josh Allen won at 111. Okay, and keep in mind, you're not going to see a guy like Brandon Sheriff because guard's not a premium enough position to have many guards be selected in this, right? And he's certainly a win-now type player because he's still good for how much longer, I don't, how many more seasons can he stay at that Brandon Sheriff level? We'll find out. Let's hope a bunch, as long as they're in a Jaguar uniform. But you're going to see a lot of pass rush wide receiver, cornerback, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
It's passing game related. Tyson Campbell, who to me would be the number 2 pick, off this roster, comes in at pick 120.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Kirk at 127. I actually think that's better credit given to Christian Kirk than most would.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to be in that range with so many good receivers in the National Football League. Travis Etienne, you ask, where does he fall? Well, he falls 199th. Wasn't that Tom Brady selection?
I believe so.
199
Yep.
in the draft. That's more commentary on the state of the importance of the running back position in the National Football League. I know in the actual draft, they had the Jags taking Christian McCaffrey in the first round. Might have been the first running back off the board as I scroll quickly through here. McCaffrey went 25th. Might have been the only running back he was in the first 32 picks. This shows you how quarterback-centric this list was. The Eagles, and again, it's just a mental exercise, but the Eagles taking Kyler Murray at 31. Really? Win now?
Right.
And coming off torn ACL to win right now this season? Come on. Seems like a little bit of a reach right there. But then, so you had Etienne at 199. You had Evan Ingram at 224. So no Foye Oluokun in there. Obviously, none of the really young Jaguars. And I get it. Like, Trayvon Walker hasn't shown enough. And we're talking about win now. We're not talking about what you think for the next 5 to 7 years or anything along those lines. But and he did not rank Calvin Ridley, or at least didn't put him in here.
No, yeah.
I would think that if you're really doing this exercise, Calvin Ridley would probably be the first Jaguar wide receiver selected still. Although there is that hasn't played basically in 2 seasons aspect of it. I mean, and you can't deny it. No matter how we had Jimmy Smith on saying he thinks he's going to get past that and he'll quickly come back. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, right? Or maybe it takes him half a season to get back up to used to playing. Maybe, let's hope this is not the case. Maybe, you can condition all you like. In shape and football shape, that's what they always tell us, 2 completely different things.
Yep.
How those hamstrings going to hold up? Or any of those soft tissues when you're out there running, with the guys trying to take your head off for the first time in a couple of years. We don't know.
No, yeah.
But the point is, Tone, the biggest takeaway for me on this is there's a huge perceived gap. Like, if you take the Chiefs, okay, that's Mahomes, but it's also Kelsey and Chris Jones, right? And they're both in the first round. And most of the teams that you would consider elite or contenders would have multiple players, at least in the first couple of rounds, right? On average, you should have about 1 per round. Now, here's the question. How much can that quarterback carry you, right? How much can he bridge the gap and lift up the rest of the supporting cast? Again, take Buffalo, for instance, right? You got Josh Allen. You also have Stephon Diggs, right? I mean, who knows if Von Miller's healthy, how they would feel about him. And again, this is a win now type scenario, and he wasn't healthy last year. But, Matt Milano, I saw him ranked ahead of Foye Oluokun on CBS's linebacker rankings, for instance. Tremaine Edmonds on there as well, the former Buffalo Bill now. The perception is, and maybe the perception's wrong, quite frankly, is just that you got Trevor Lawrence, and what the Jags are going to do is basically on him. And granted, that's the most important thing, but I do feel like this supporting cast is pretty good. Are we fooling ourselves? Because I think that with average quarterback play, and I don't know if C.J. Beathard would give you that. Like, if you had to have a replacement-level quarterback, middle-of-the-pack level quarterback, this team could still win a lot of games this year based on the rest of what they have. And maybe it is a little bit being close to the situation, because clearly the defense was deficient last year. You can rank Josh Allen as the next best player. Is that actually not that complimentary? That Allen is okay, but he's not anybody that immediately comes to mind as the best pass rushers in the National Football League.
Well, and I think, again, this is another example of the perception of Josh Allen outside of Jacksonville, like from the national pundits who talk about Josh Allen, is better than it seems to be here, right? Because you are seeing
Agreed.
PFF that are ranking him, among the top 5 or 6 edge defenders in the NFL, right? Like, he's getting that kind of talk outside of Jacksonville. And in Jacksonville, it's a bunch of people waiting. When's he going to have this 12, 13, 14, 15 sack season? Like, where's it at so that we can feel comfortable paying him? But from outside, continually, these kind of things happen with Josh, where it's, yeah, he's this good, right? And you start looking at, beyond the first round, which was so quarterback heavy as you would expect in a draft like this. You start looking at the players that are going in the second and third rounds of these drafts. So you got, at the top of the second round, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Ramsey, Zach Martin are the first 3 picks of that round. I don't think there's anybody with Jacksonville that's necessarily at that level, right? Like, I think where they have the Jags in this draft makes a lot of sense when everything is said and done. You go to the top of the third round, right, to just go around later. You got Derwin James, you got Joel Bitonio, the offensive guard, and you have Von Miller, who's an aging edge guy, right? But I don't think the Jags guys belong necessarily ahead of those guys on this kind of list yet either. I think they're actually where they should be, and I think that that is good enough, right? Like, I think it's, if you have a team like Kansas City where you can see, and I didn't look to see where Kelsey was in this draft, right? And I didn't look to see where Jones was in this draft.
They're both first rounders.
Right. But if both those guys are first round, I can understand why they'd be in that kind of position. But I don't think there's a bunch of teams that have that, right? And the gap between those guys and the next guy, I don't know who the next guy would be for the Chiefs beyond those guys. What, Creed Humphrey?
Probably,
Maybe.
but he's seen by many as the best center in the game.
Yeah.
And you don't hear too many Jags talked about in that light.
No.
Look, it doesn't matter. Jags lost by a score to the Chiefs on the road. That doesn't mean you can't beat that team.
No.
Right? It's understandable why you wouldn't be the favorite in that scenario. Kelsey was 24, Chris Jones was 29. So 3 of the top 29 players, including the number 1 overall, will get you into Super Bowl contention.
Yeah.
No question. All right, the question of the day. We'll come back and take a look at this one, asking you which Jaguars player's reputation will improve the most. So maybe it's one of the guys we mentioned on that list that will be ranked significantly higher next year. Maybe it is just somebody like a Trayvon Walker who had by I think national accounts, kind of a ho-hum rookie season. Right? And you can talk all you like, you got to watch the film. Well, okay, but the majority of people are going to look at the numbers and compare him to Aiden Hutchinson, compare him to other pass rushers. Could he be a guy who breaks out? We'll talk about that. It's kind of a breakout question, but it's really more about improving your national stature. We'll do that when we return in a moment. With Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
It's another Waste Management Wednesday in the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios on 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Who's your hero? Before you answer Superman, I don't mean those heroes. I'm talking our local heroes. Do you know one? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet want to recognize your hero in a big way. This year, we will recognize local heroes in our community and honor them with a brand new car. That's right, we'll be giving away a brand new car, cash, and free oil changes for life to our local heroes. Visit localwowheroes.com to nominate and vote today. Let's wow our heroes.
Waste Management is paying a $5,000 bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine. Apply online at wm.com/careers.
Equal opportunity employer.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather now hot as can be, look ahead and get that backyard ready for fall with a new open air or screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. So if you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Share stories over a big bowl of cereal with Big Bo. Breakfast with Baselli, brought to you by Epstein & Robbins DUI defense firm and Fifth Element Adjusting. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A. Monday morning on 1010XL.
74.3% of those that own a home security system indicate that their security system and products make them feel safe. Because security cameras give you peace of mind. Denny Thompson here. Let Tyson Sound & Security assess your home security needs and keep the bad guys out so you can have full peace of mind too. While you're at it, ask them how they can help lower your home insurance payments. Visit TysonSoundandSecurity.com. Tyson Sound & Security, security and automation experts.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
For the past 5 years in Jacksonville, J-Dog Junk Removal has been on a mission to put veterans back to work. They have successfully helped over 40 veterans find meaningful employment, and they're not stopping there. Their goal is to reach an astounding 75 veterans employed by the year 2025, all in our local community. J-Dog Junk Removal, veteran-owned, veteran-operated.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, it's Prosser here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? Does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound about right now? Well, Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loans, consolidate all your payments into one check per month, and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Malfunctions in your electrical panel can lead to hazards like fire or power outages, leaving your home at risk. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
8 Sparky.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kid Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
We found the computer outlet, sir.
Plug in. No static ever. Download the free 1010XL app for Apple and Android devices and take us with you wherever you go. Jaguars Today on 1010XL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, let me run through some of these. Little D, because you can't use double D for Dylan Denmark. I don't know about that.
Yeah. I'd throw that one out if I was on the other end of that one.
Little D. D squared.
Uh-huh.
Swillin' Dylan, if he's a big drinker. I don't know if he is.
Nah, not really. Social drinker.
That comes on the heels of that person who put Swillin' Dylan. Their previous, most recent text was from during XL Primetime on Monday. It said, "Ghosts are not real. Stop smoking so much weed."
Oh, wow.
Okay. I don't know what it was, but I saw a ghost. Ghosts are real. I mean, I saw a ghost.
Uh-huh.
Told the story many times.
You have.
And I was not, at that point, imbibing anything at that point. Let's see. Denmark's the spot. Denmarky Mark, like rapper Mark Wahlberg. If you have to explain why. Do you know who Marky Mark was? What his group was called?
No.
Of course you don't, because you're young, and you shouldn't. The Funky Bunch, man. Cat Dillon.
I hate cats.
We're thinking Jaguars here. He hates cats. Strike one.
Cat Dillon's pretty good if you hate cats.
It's not bad. D squared. Da Deal. Okay.
A deal.
The deal. Darkwing Duck. Are we just not going for
anything that starts with a D?
DD.
Yeah.
In it. Chilling with Dylan.
Just start calling him Donut.
D to the G. Yeah, we'll work on it.
We'll work on it.
You know, it'll either happen or it won't. We'll just call him Dylan or Denmark the rest of the time here. All right. Some of the responses we got today when we asked you about which Jacksonville Jaguars reputation will improve the most based on how he plays in 2023. Look, obviously we got a bunch of Trevor Lawrence. I think it's going to be really hard. His reputation's pretty damn good.
It's good.
For guys had a really good half season and a massive national attention playoff comeback. That helped propel him. And again, Jack come up 1 point short in that game, Tony, right? Riley Patterson misses the field goal, right? Doesn't change anything that Trevor did. Changes the perception of what Trevor did.
Sure.
Massively. He dug too big of a hole. Can't dig yourself a 4-turnover hole and expect to come back down 27-0. But that's not how it went. And here we're talking about today where he is regarded. CBS Sports had him as number 7 in its overall quarterback rankings, and Chad Ryder at NFL.com had him number 6 in the who would you take to win now out of anyone in the league draft.
Yeah. I think I saw Trevor Lawrence at 6th in the odds right now for league MVP.
His name gets brought up, right? To the point where everyone thinks they're clever. They think they're the only one clever with Trevor. I see you. Be bad with the nickname. Let's see. Chase on. Okay, Odie just saying Caleb on Chase on.
Interesting, yeah.
Look, reputation, any kind of positive reputation would be a massive how do you go like 0 to whatever is, how do you even quantify how much his reputation improved? I'll go with Walker Littleson Scott, possibly getting to start the first 5 games, possibly getting to start all 17 games. I mean,
go win it.
If he's out there just pancaking people and Trevor Lawrence is playing in a clean pocket all day, who knows? Calvin Ridley, dude was considered a top 10 wide receiver nationally. He's not anymore due to having a year off, more than a year. He'll be back in that ranking by the end of the season. Maybe. And, I mean, it's possible. And like you mentioned, there's certain people already mentioning him in that vein. But I think if most people were ranking wide receivers, he would not be in the top 10 right now. Right? Sight unseen. And maybe it does throw him back. It's just such a crowded competition, right? I mean, between Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle on his own team, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb. I mean, on and on. It's easy to rattle off 10 guys. Stephon Diggs, right? You could rattle off 10 very easily that the majority of people would go with the head, but we're asking you who's going to change, and I understand that answer. T-Law, of course, a solid third year will solidify the franchise's path for the near future, okay? I'm going to go with Josh Allen. More sacks this year, going to get him noticed nationally and respected finally by fans. I don't think Josh Allen's disrespected by fans. You're a top pick. And by the way, seen as a steal where the Jags got him in the top 10 at the time. And to come in and have a double-digit sack season and make the Pro Bowl hasn't lived up to that consistently since that point. Another one for Josh Allen. Got to be Chase on. More for Walker, a little Agent Zero. So, literally, like the 4 I just went through, they just repeated themselves. Bunch of I'd say Josh Allen getting more of this than anything. A 2-part answer from Max. Locally, I'm going to say Trayvon Walker. I think he does more than enough for fans to really like the pick. Nationally, I think Trevor Lawrence establishes that he is here and among the top elite quarterbacks. I guess there's some of that, right? Like, not every casual fan is going to immediately put Trevor Lawrence in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL.
No, and I think there is the possibility, you know how strongly I feel about it. I mean, I picked them to go 16-1. Like, I do think there's the realistic possibility that Trevor Lawrence is the league MVP.
Sure.
Right? Like, I can see the season the Jags would have that would get Trevor Lawrence the league MVP this year. And I think that does change the conversation depending on how deep they go in the playoffs on top of that this upcoming season to Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow being like this, right? Neck and neck as far as where these two guys are in the league if they have that kind of year. And I think I wouldn't put it at probable, but it's better than possible, right? Like it's somewhere between possible and probable is where I'd put the odds of that happening for the Jags. And if they do that this year and Trevor Lawrence is the league MVP, then yeah, I think that does vault him into those kind of heights that we haven't ever really seen a Jaguars quarterback at.
Well, it follows of course we haven't. I mean, Pro Bowl MVP, Mark Brunell, but that's a lot different than being league MVP.
Yeah.
Kind of serious consideration. But, if it follows, they don't have to go 16-1. What if they go 13-4 and win the division by 5 games?
Yeah.
For instance, right? Cruise to a high seed, and Trevor's out there throwing 35-plus touchdowns.
Yeah. And
the interceptions are down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's going to be at least in the conversation. Still an uphill climb. Andre Sisco, there's another good one, ready to turn some heads. I think it's going to be hard. Like Andre Sisco, it's going to be hard for him to become a household name. I'm going to go with Trayvon Walker on this, and I'm doing a little wish casting on it, right? But he's already in the public consciousness because he was the number 1 overall pick a year ago. And if he goes out there and has 8+ sacks this year, I think people are going to say, all right, I can see it now, starting to come into his own in year 2. So that'd be my answer.
Yeah, I think I will go with Sisco from the perspective of I think Sisco has it in him at some point to be the guy that is pushing being involved in something like 10 turnovers in a season. Like, I think he does have that kind of season in him that could be this year. And if the team is winning at the kind of level we were just talking about with Trevor Lawrence, right, on top of that, then I think there's the opportunity, not the expectation, but the opportunity for Sisco to maybe even get a look as, second-team All-Pro? Something like I could, if he has that kind of year, and I think he's capable of that kind of year, given how much has been around the ball in his first 2 years already, right? And the comfort level going into his second year as a full-time starter, I'll put Sisco at the top of my list.
All right, let's shut her down and hand it off to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping 1010XL rolling with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, Mia O'Brien's back from her driving tour of the Midwest.
I'm glad you noticed. Apparently my co-hosts had no idea.
They get off social media for like 2
all
weeks?
All 3 of them and JJ literally go, "What do you mean you drove?" I said, "Why do you think my car's been in the parking lot?"
Well, I wouldn't have any idea what car you drive. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what car you drive.
There's a lot of Yankee stickers on it and Iowa stickers.
I don't know what Tony drives, and I work with Tony every day.
Right.
I'm just not that guy.
Mine's got the Mad Max skull on it. That's how you can tell which one.
I guess they have me blocked. I don't know. But, I'm back.
Well, that's
we
not
survived.
not a bad route to go. But, all right, well, how was it? Good vacation?
Yeah, it was good. The initial 18-hour drive ended up being, I had a good time. It was an adventure. Had to get there. And all the FAA issues last week, we kind of just said, do we really want to roll the dice and wait around for another flight that may not happen? And so we might as well hop in the car. We got to rent a car anyways, so.
I had a friend who tweeted out something about hey, if you're going to the East Coast this week, just don't.
Yeah.
And I'm oblivious because I don't have to fly. We drove up to North Carolina on vacation last week, and I'm like, what's wrong with the East Coast, man?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you hating on the East Coast, man?
Well, that was the thing, too. Of course, being from New Jersey, my mom, when I texted her and said, hey, our flight didn't even get delayed. It got outright canceled. She said Monday, Tuesday, you couldn't get a flight out of New York because they were all basically getting canceled left and right. And so she said, I guess the rest of the country is feeling the repercussions. And so it was I was just I don't want to roll the dice. And, especially when they rebooked us and had us in 2 separate locations. I was just you know what? It's all right. I've never actually gotten to do the drive. It's surprising enough to the Midwest. And so gave it a go.
My wife and I will always do driving vacations or we've driven all the way up to Maine.
Yeah.
We've driven to Wisconsin, different places, and it doesn't bother us. I kind of like
it actually was pretty, it was pretty, knock on wood, it was pretty seamless. The irony is the only area we hit traffic, Cartersville, Georgia. I was
Now, tourist destination.
There's some beauty in
Birthplace
that.
of.
There's some beauty in that.
That kind of thing. There is.
absolutely.
All right, so what are you guys getting into today?
Well, of course, our countdown continues as we count down to the Jaguars opener. Of course, you look at the number that we're at. We're at 67, so we're really in that offensive line neck of the woods. And so curious to hear what our Nooners are thinking as we count down to the Jaguars opener. Also going to dive into, the boys haven't gotten a chance to really talk about the Swamp remodeling, reconstruction. We'll also take a look at that. And, of course, our eye on the offseason, taking a look at those head coaching rankings. Do we think Doug Peterson cracks the top 10?
Well, if you're going to host NFL games for 2 years, you better upgrade that.
Well, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? That's the question.
I'm going to go with
the Jaguars are the chicken and the egg, buddy.
Oh, there it is.
Going with the chicken. All right, Mia, have a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mia O'Brien is back, and you know that because we just had a conversation with him. I'll wrap up with this. Mike in Jacksonville just sent this one unprompted. This is the lone piece of Jaguar gear. He sent a picture of like a that distressed style T-shirt, that's purposely faded, and this is so cool because I can't be bothered to wear the shirt for like 5 years. It actually faded.
Right.
Bro, I got to find. I don't know what the oldest shirt I have that I still own, but it's got to be decades upon decades old. There's no question about it.
Like you'll see me every now and then wearing that green shirt with Mario on it. Everyone loves an Italian boy. I got that for Christmas when I was like 20. That's pushing 20 years ago. Yeah.
So anyway, he said the lone piece of Jaguar gear we saw between London and Paris over a 2-week period was a $90 blue T-shirt in a boutique Paris shop. I did accidentally leave my Jaguar cap at a restaurant by the Tower of London. Hopefully somebody wears it. But wait, what about this burgeoning European Jaguar fan base? Can't even get a dang T-shirt in London?
Yeah.
You may have heard we play there.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Oh, well.
That's all right. They're ours anyway. I don't care. You can order everything online nowadays anyway. All right, that'll do it for us today. Dylan Denmark didn't crash the show, so there's that for his debut as our new producer here on XL Primetime. Happy birthday to the old man, E.T.
Yeah.
Turned 37 years young today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more danger and excitement and Jaguar discussion and hopefully a better batch of potential Dylan Denmark nicknames to come. Thanks to Jimmy Smith. If you missed his interview, you can go back and listen to the show on demand. It'll be posted shortly after we go off the air, or if you just want to hear that interview, it'll be on the website as well. Go to 1010XL.com and check it out in all its many forms. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today. Stick around. XL Primetime is next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Yo, Jacksonville, let's go. Duval!
It's a Waste Management Wednesday on Jaguars Today.
Murray with time.
Hey, this is Aaron Murray, quarterback for the University of Georgia Bulldogs on 1010XL 92.5 FM Sports Radio.
Yes, he did.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Do you have a lift station at your business? Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services would love to be your maintenance provider. Give us a call for a quote today. 904-862-6769 or online at duckrooter.com.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. If you're looking for a real solution to your thinning hair or hair loss, call IHRS now at 904-7